And we are back with another episode of Socratic Gamers, a very special episode because it is Diwali, and it just passed Diwali, and Vish is back from his long hiatus
2 days
of 2 days not being in the apartment, and me just playing GTA with Sid and Tara, creating our own podcasts. So yeah, we're back. If you don't know what game this is, do you want to preface them on what game this is?
If you don't know what this is,
Yeah.
You should.
You shouldn't be listening to Socratic Gamers.
Yeah, why are you here? This is Overwatch, bro.
Overwatch. So
the number one game in the world. Elon Musk plays this game.
That's true. That's pretty cool. So let me jump right into my first question about being Diwali. Is it Diwali or Diwali? Or Diwali?
Diwali, I think.
Diwali? Okay, how come it's not
Or Deepavali. Whatever.
Deepavali, what's that?
Deepavali. Like, it's just the longer version of it. Diwali is just short.
So, what is Deepavali?
This is Festival of Lights.
And, like, what is it? You were telling me before that it is quite similar to our Christian Catholic Christmas. Is it? Or is it not?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, really? So you guys have Santa Claus?
Santa Claus is made up, but we have gift giving, I guess.
Okay, cool. Yeah, gift giving. So is that the only similarity? You're like, oh, it's just a holiday where we can exchange gifts.
Yeah.
Okay. So
no, I mean there's a meaning to why this exists, right? Like in their story, it's after the Avatar version of Vishnu called Ram comes back after 14 years of exile.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the celebration. And it's also like the triumph of a good over evil.
Oh, that's cool. So to summarize what Diwali is it is the return of Ram and the triumph over good against evil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. So like that has nothing to do with our Christian holiday Christmas.
The only thing
is like it's like commercial gift giving. You know, that's the only real similarity there, bro.
No. Isn't okay, what other than that, commercial gift giving was a new thing, right?
Okay, so
there
Christmas,
is something else to it.
Christmas is the birth of Jesus, and
it's not. Is it the birth or?
It's the birth of Jesus.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of Good Friday. Good Friday is where he like dies, returns and stuff. But yeah, so Christmas is.
I'm pretty sure there's other similarities to it.
Well, a quick rundown for non-Christian people. They think that Christmas is all about Santa Claus. Christmas, actually, Jesus,
I think Christmas is different, or not Christmas. What you're speaking of is Christian.
A Christian thing
is different than Catholicism, right?
Yeah, that's allegedly the only difference between Christian and Catholic is Catholic they
worship Mary.
They worship Mary, and Christians don't. They think that Mary is just like a vessel that God used. She's not holy, essentially.
Yeah, that there should be no other symbols, right? I don't even think like you should be having like crosses or something.
Yeah,
that level of stuff.
Yeah, totally. So actually, I heard somewhere, I can't remember the exact reference to it, but Christmas is actually a pagan holiday.
Oh yeah, it goes back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like.
So what is it? Maybe it matches what paganism thing was.
Your Diwali?
I don't know. Yeah.
Probably, because like for us, like Jesus wasn't actually even born in Christmas. He was born sometime in July, allegedly, if they got that correct. But we say that it's around the Christmas time, but initially, it's like they just wanted to go all commercial on it, you know. So
it's kind of like but it's kind of like when there's other people already following a certain like tradition.
Yeah.
They just kind of fit into that tradition to make it so that they'll follow it.
True. Okay. I got what you're saying.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So it's like so in order to like what do you call that? Propagate a certain religion.
Yeah.
They make it accessible and relatable to all religions so that other people will follow it.
Yeah, basically that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you know that in elementary school, when you're doing confirmation for Catholicism, you're supposed.
I don't know that.
Oh no, I'm just like telling you right now. So like in Catholic school, when I was in elementary school, we had this thing called freaking confirmation.
Yeah.
And what you did is like you took on a saint's name, and it became like you, essentially.
weird.
Like yeah, it's very weird. It's kind of like when like
Sorry.
if you look at it from a yogic perspective, it's almost like your new name, because your first name was like given to you like as like you not being who you think you are, so you choose a new name in order to like reestablish who you are to the society.
Yeah.
Something like that, and you have to pick like a saint's name. I'm probably butchering it, but like I'm pretty sure this is what I remember. Like this is what I remember.
Yeah.
And so guess what saint I chose for this one.
Augustus.
So why Saint Augustus?
It's just one of the philosophers that I know.
Oh, okay,
That
okay.
is the saint.
No. Well, I wasn't a philosopher back then. I was just like,
No, I don't know.
yeah.
I was just saying something.
So one of my friends, so me and my friend Kwan, we were like messing around. We were both trying to figure out the worst name to pick. So he chose Elmo. You know, Saint Elmo. He's like looking at the book. He's like, oh, this one sounds so dumb. Saint Elmo. I'm Saint Elmo. And I had to one up him, right? And I was like,
Oh,
okay.
I like that.
Right? It's pretty clever. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do to somehow make it that I'm gonna best him on this one? I chose Saint Nicholas.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Santa Claus. Little did I know that it's not at all like like Santa Claus at all. He's the reliever of suffering or something like that.
Oh.
I think, I don't know, but yeah.
What you remember? I guess.
Well, what?
It's from what you can remember.
From what I can
it's
remember,
saying?
yes, a
Like-
long time ago. So we were saying that there's a lot of similarities between Christians and Hindus before, you know, and like what do you see as like similarities?
No, it's more like what do we see? I think more towards Catholicism. I don't know about Christian.
Okay, yeah. Well, they're pretty much the same thing. It's just one believes in Mary, one doesn't.
I don't know if they would say that.
Allegedly. Yeah, whatever.
No, I mean, I don't think they would say that. It's that. The only difference is that.
True. Yeah, you're right.
The similarities are. What did I notice from?
I remember because you were very curious back in the day, and like I'd always go to mass every Sunday, right, with my parents.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this about?
And you're like, oh, like let me tag along one time, and then I was like, yeah, sure, and that actually entertained me. I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be an actual fun mass. And then at the end of it, you were like, oh, it's very similar because you're saying that instead of the body of Christ, which is like
Right.
the bread that we have, you swap it out with fruit. There's a lot of kneeling and standing, a lot of mantras, aka prayer.
Yep.
There's a lot of veneration over stuff. You know, and we got like a lot of artwork on the walls.
I don't think there's much artwork.
Oh, in Hinduism?
No, it's just more statues of gods.
Yeah, true. So, would you almost say that like I personally think that religion is kind of like a way for people to overcome their fear of death, you know, or uncertainty, you know, because like whenever you
I think uncertainty makes more sense.
So whenever you feel bad
It's like
about-
it's like when you don't have control over something and you want to
place
someone
some
might
like
protect you
pseudo
or
control.
some-
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So like, oh no, I hope I do well on my test. Okay, just pray to God.
Yeah.
You know? And like, but you know, it's interesting. Like, all cultures around the world, they have some version of prayer in order to alleviate the suffering of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know in Vietnam they have like certain gods that you pray to before your exam.
Vietnam, yeah.
And like everyone says like pray to God all the time. In Hinduism, do you pray to gods? I'm assuming. Like I remember something about that.
Yeah.
So you pray to who do you pray to in Hinduism?
I think all prayers start, depending on what it is, but all prayer starts from to Ganesh first.
Why Ganesh? He's not even the highest god.
But he is the, what does Ganesh mean? Like
He's a
is
sustainer or something?
no, he's not the sustainer.
Creator.
No, he's not the creator.
Destroyer.
He's to remove obstacles.
Yeah, the remover of obstacles.
That's what it was.
So essentially is like the obstacle of your mind? Is that what they're trying to like suggest there?
Again, I guess it's up to your interpretation.
Okay, but to these people they take it literally. So like if there's a mountain in your way and you can't get through it, you just pray to Ganesh and he's just gonna remove it for you? Is that what is it a physical obstacle?
Yeah,
or like
you
a
pray to
mental?
him and then you buy some dynamite and blow it up. Because I think if they did, they wouldn't just do it.
They're just praying, and then it's like,
hopefully it'll disappear one day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in 1,000 years, it'll erode itself, and then you just have to be patient. That's what Ganesh should say.
I think a lot of them don't take it literally. They take it as a metaphor.
Okay, yeah. Let's
right, like
yeah.
if you see a lot of cars that are driven by people of that religion, Hinduism,
Yeah.
you'll see a Ganesh statue.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Because
well, why do you do that?
to remove the obstacles, so you don't want to get in a crash.
Yeah, but if you're like, who's the real obstacle there? Because you've all got Ganesh statues, and you're all just driving.
So they just don't. It's a mind at ease thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like
That's
it's
all
your
what it is.
suffering. Yeah,
That's
for
what it
sure, for sure.
represents. Like, it's just that it's not like it's gonna actually do something.
No,
'Cause people
100%.
will get in accidents.
Yeah, true. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, it's just a way to alleviate the suffering of the unknown, which is like your fear of getting into a crash. Will I get into one? Will I not get into one? It's like you're essentially pulling off a placebo on yourself.
It's a placebo, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's like you just missed something, and it's like, oh, because it was a good
for
match.
sure. Yeah,
but it's like,
it's like lucky socks. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when people are like, I'm gonna put my lucky socks for this basketball game, and they win the game. Like it's because of the socks.
yeah.
Yeah, like
It's the same concept, basically. That
Yeah, true. Yeah, totally.
it's like the false positives or what.
So maybe that's the benefit of religion, then. You know what I mean? It like offers up some ability to go beyond and surpass whatever it is that you think you are.
Well, as long as it does that, that's fine. But I don't think a lot of people feel it like that.
And then we have like the problem of like
there's extremists too,
Yeah,
right?
extremists,
When
yeah.
they literally take it the interpretation is too literal, and
Yeah.
that's the problem.
yeah. So after Ganesh, who do you pray to?
Depending on what it is, I think. I don't know that.
Oh, really? You got a god for everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like
Allergy
like
god?
so what I learned today, because
Uh-huh.
not everywhere in India like celebrates it exactly the same, because
Okay.
there's so many different cultures to it, right?
Uh-huh.
Even though it's surrounded by the same religion. So like in northern India, the people, it's also their new year, their financial new year.
Oh, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
it's like tax season?
No, not tax season. It's just it's like where the books come to an end.
Oh yeah,
And
so,
that's where they would pray to, I think, Lakshmi or something, goddess of wealth or something like that.
It's the fiscal year.
Yeah,
it's the
they're-
end of
end
the
of the-
fiscal year. No way! Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's why it's different. That's only in the north. That's not everywhere else.
So in the north, Diwali is
No, there is Diwali, and they also have during that same week.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. Do you know if Hindus were taking taxes and stuff, like recording? Were they doing accounting back then, or is that more of like a?
You
'cause
mean
I
Hindus or you mean Indians?
Indians. Yeah, Indians. Because I kind of feel like that's sort of like a Roman thing, you know? Romans are the first ones who
No, I think they had
introduced
taxes
banking
too.
systems.
I think
Oh,
they
okay.
had taxes, yeah.
Yeah, so do you, like, can you explain your childhood as, like, because I'm so fascinated by, like, Hinduism, because it's so, like, rich with, like, spiritual lore, you know what I mean? Like, spiritual lore, not like answers to anything. I'm just saying, like, your
Yeah, there's a lot of good stories. That's what makes it
Exactly,
still
yeah.
appealing to a lot of people.
For sure. So, like, how were you raised as opposed to, like, the modern Western person who was raised?
The way I was raised.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, just like, explain your, like, upbringing. You know, like.
Yeah.
All right, let me just ask you.
You ask me, that's probably better.
You're like,
I don't know how to start this.
I wake up every morning.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't mean like that. No, I mean like. So
No. I just remembered something.
Okay. So explain it.
Like, basically every day, once you're taking your shower, you go pray.
Oh, really? You prayed?
Well, it's not like I prayed. I just said stuff.
Okay.
I didn't know what it meant.
And what was it? What was it to deal with?
It's just the way you start the day to respect.
Like your elders, respect the gods. Like, what are you respecting? Your environment.
Your environment, or it's also like asking forgiveness because you're walking on the earth and stepping on stuff is not nice.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I remember you told me that once, and I was like, "Oh, that's like pretty hardcore."
But again, if you understood that, I don't think everyone. Some people just say it.
It's almost like a hardcore Jainist, man. They're like.
I don't think that's hard. I'm not a Jain though, right?
No, but like you're.
No. All you're saying is no. I think that's not hardcore. Jainist is more like you're trying to not kill things when you're on here, right? You're covering up and stuff. Right. All you're saying is like it's I don't know if forgiveness may be a strong of a word. It's more like I guess thanking me or something like that, where like I think like stepping on something is very disrespectful in India, right?
Oh, okay.
Like to touch someone with your leg is not a good thing to do.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is it because of like the dirt or?
No, it's like it's not a clean part, I guess, right?
Right.
It's
It's
always dirty and stuff.
It's like your left hand, or is it right hand?
It's your left hand.
Yeah. If for anyone who doesn't know, you want to fill them in as to why we're laughing with the left hand.
I think they can figure that out. Search it up.
Or we'll give them a clue. There is no toilet paper in India.
I think that's
So pretty
not
much.
in India everywhere. This is certain areas. It's not only there too though, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I remember in Thailand there's no toilet paper, just a bucket of water and a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna hold it. I'm good. No, this is not cool. Yeah. So
That's why you don't touch anything with your left hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was thinking about like how, because you're describing like you wake up and it sounds like you're being very grateful. You know?
Yeah, I think that's yeah.
You know, like you start your day with the practice of gratefulness. Mm-hmm. Whereas like in Western culture, it's often about like conquering. You know, it's not a bad thing, but it's just like if you look at
their different view of how to spend their time on Earth.
No, but if you look at like the historical, not creation, but like the lineage of where the West came from, it was like Rome. And then Rome branched out into Great Britain, and then Great Britain became America, and then Canada, blah, blah, blah. So that's like what we call Western society. Right? Yeah. And like, I find that in the Western society, they are missing like a practice of gratefulness and like respect for your elders, respect for nature, respect for all this stuff. And like, because of that, you have like this like disconnect and like unhappiness, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you need the unhappiness.
No, 100%, but like
happiness.
Yeah, 100%. But you're saying that from a place of being grown up, having grown up in a very philosophical household.
Yeah.
Not intentionally, like just the fact that your culture was like that. You know, and like so.
But I don't know if everyone. So it's also changing in India too, right?
Oh no, 100%. Of course, the Westernization.
I think it flips. Everything it flips once in a while.
No, of course, because the West will become the East will become the West. It's like that whole Hatha ideology of like. Or not ideology, like analogy of like too much ha, you become tha. Ha means like fast energy, tha is like slow energy. Mm-hmm. So like you go too fast too quickly, you're gonna have to slow down, and then vice versa. If you're going too slow, you're gonna need to rev it back up. So like in the West, they're very focused on like the self, the lowercase self, like the self-centeredness. And in like the East, they're very focused on like the uppercase self, which is like collectivism, you know, like seeing things as one thing, you know. And like I bring that up because like a lot of the things that we learn about, well, I've been learning about through like my own studies in Western culture about spirituality and about Eastern life, particularly like yoga and stuff, is that like all of these things were ingrained as like philosophies as a child. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like people always say like, like I'm sure when you were a kid they were saying like, oh, you know that like in India it's very difficult to get food, so be appreciative of the food that you're eating. Like I'll give you an example. Like if we didn't finish our meal, my dad would be like, you know, like people in Philippines are like starving, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's like you need to be appreciative of your food because like they can't eat, so the fact that you can, it's like blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you need to practice gratefulness.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, but if you come from like the Western perspective of like a lack of gratefulness, and then you all of a sudden go to the East, like that's what I'm really like targeting right now. It's like, it's very interesting because like we have a very privileged state in the West, and then all of a sudden the mind cracks when you see something like not privileged. You're like, oh man, I didn't know about all this suffering. And then you go to like a Eastern person and you're like, yeah dude, like I've been told that since I was a child, you know, like you know, like the Beatles going to India,
but yeah,
suffering.
I know, but not like, why is the West so developed? Like, can I live in India currently since I've been used to here? No,
of course not. No,
but it didn't take them. Their selfishness took us to this point.
100%. No, 100%.
So there's positives and negatives.
There are positives and negatives, but it's interesting to like see the re-emergence of spirituality, aka collectivism, and it's like, but like coming from a very collectivist like household, it's already like ingrained principles. You know what I mean? And you see like the astonishment of people who have not been collectivists. So like, what I'm really getting is like, when you're kids, you don't really realize what it is you have. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even really think about it. And then all of a sudden, like, when you get older, you're starting to see the differences in, like, culture.
I think it's also, like, seeing people in suffering, right? You don't really see that much in...
For sure, but you're told about it. At least you're aware of it, you know what I mean? Could you imagine if you... It's like Siddhartha, right? Like, you've never seen any suffering, then one day you see suffering, and you're like, oh my god, blah, blah, blah. Actually, you know what?
Was he leading the ultimate Western life?
I was about to say, actually, like Siddhartha can be a great metaphor for Western living. Maybe that's why like the West took so heavily to yoga, because when they found out like these, actually, well, yoga is not really a Buddhist. That's more of a Buddhist thing. Siddhartha is a Buddhism, you know. Well, a lot of like, well, all right, we can just take it as like a very interesting similarity that Siddhartha himself exhibited West going to East mental shifting.
He did live a luxurious life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if anyone's never heard of Siddhartha before, like a quick summation, he was a prince of India.
Not of India. They're just of
some place in India. Right? You know,
in India though, but not like of India.
Yeah,
like the whole,
not the
like some state, some province or something.
Yeah, exactly. And he can't be the prince. There's no prince of India. There's no king of the whole of India, right?
No.
Yeah, like so he was like a prince of some segregated part of India, and then his father wanted to hide him from, like shelter him from any sort of suffering. Yeah,
because he was told that I think he talked to like a prophecy person.
Really?
Yeah, and they told him like he's gonna either become a great king, or he's going to become like some spiritual leader or something like that.
That's interesting.
And he wanted him not to be a spiritual leader.
Oh, because he wanted to propagate the fortune.
Yeah, and so by not trying to shelter him, caused him to become the spiritual leader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's interesting because like it's weird how like stories through like translation and like reinterpretation, I hadn't heard that part because I read Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, and he didn't say that whole part about like he was prophesized to be a great leader.
Yeah.
It just went straight into like he was being sheltered.
Again, I think it's also like, again, there's so many cultures that follow it, so there's additions or
subtractions
from the story.
Yeah, or alterations. Like
alterations is probably a better word for that.
What agenda are you trying to get off, and like let me just shift it in that direction, kind of thing. Yeah, totally. So so his parents his dad sheltered him, and then he was not allowed to see anything, and then one day he saw someone dying,
like people sick,
something like that, and then he like freaked out. He realized that like, oh, death is coming for us all. He basically had a mental breakdown, and then he went on this whole spiritual path to alleviate himself from suffering, ultimately realizing the suffering is caused in your mind.
Yeah.
And if you can put an end to the mind, you can relieve yourself of suffering. You know what's interesting?
But he had a lot of ego too, though, at first.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like,
well, ego is the mind.
No, I know, but I mean, like, when he was looking for all that stuff too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like he didn't like some of the gurus that he went to in India, like he didn't understand what they were trying to say.
Right. So he's like, you must be wrong. Kind of thing. Yeah, totally. It's interesting with that, because like you hear a lot of like talk in spiritual life about like some very difficult tasks, where it's like it's like Buddha's mind. So this is one that always gets me. It's like Buddha's mind is so great that Buddha's mind is so reined in that it's more like a tool for him. When he needs it, he'll bring it back.
Okay.
And you're like, what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? But like, if you just practice things like being present, then you're able to ring back in the mind. So like right now we're doing this podcast, we're playing video games, and nothing else is like taking our attention away from this moment. Right. So we're fully present. There's no mind in the situation. Although the mind is always there because it's working for you, there's no thinking mind.
Yeah.
You know, but then like as soon as we shut this off and we're silent, thinking mind will come back. Thinking mind might even be here while that's when you see like people who are distracted, right? And then it's like they can't keep up the conversation because they're thinking about a problem. You know what I mean? So like so yeah, like it's, although it's like coveted quite highly, it's something completely achievable if you explain it in plain English. You know, if you start going poetic about it, it's like the mind can be roped in like a tool to be governed by the true and higher self.
Right.
And you're like, what the hell? Like, I'm never going to achieve this state. But then somebody's like, dude, you're just thinking too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's literally the same thing. That's actually literally the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird that because of that, you create like not differentiations, but like classes. You know, like what truly is a Brahmin? What truly is a what do you call those people? Sadhu. What really is like you know, all these like spiritual terms. You know, what's really a guru? You know.
Yeah.
A rishi. You know. What is it?
Anyways.
What does that stuff mean in your through your?
What these people are?
Yeah. Like, because I know they're like in like Hinduism, they're coveted quite highly. So like, being a person of Hindu background, maybe you could fill us in on what.
No, it's just a title, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like, but are they seen as like holier than thou in India?
I think it depends on who you ask, right?
Yeah. Okay. True. Because like a sadhu is somebody
because it's not like everyone follows one ideal. Because in India there's so many cultures. You know, like the state next to it doesn't even speak the same language. There's so many different languages that everyone has slightly different meanings of it. And
right.
So you can have people that are ultra religious. I think this can be in any culture, but you can have people that are like follow it because it's tradition.
Yeah, for sure.
And not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like take any actual. They may take some meaning, but not like.
I understand. Yeah. Like they're seeing it not for literal truth.
Yeah.
So like, do you like, you know, like sadhus and babas, like those people that wear like they put like ash all over their body and they walk around naked and stuff.
Yeah.
Are they like, so like in Western culture, people are like, oh man, that's like a baba, yo, like he is highly awakened. But then I'm assuming like in India, people are probably like, put on some goddamn clothes. You know what I mean?
Some people may think that.
Or some people see them as priests.
No, I mean like he's on his journey. Like nobody gets involved in people's lives.
Yeah, but it's like people say he's on his journey, but it's like dude, if you're all doing the same thing, you're not on a freaking journey. You're on a freaking you're on a freaking mission. Like you're all doing the same thing. You know, everyone wants to be a freaking unique snowflake, but we're not unique snowflakes.
No,
You know what I mean? So like when they say things like,
but I think people do have some respect for them.
Okay, yeah. So what do you mean?
Like the things I can remember was like, if you see them and you give them some food and whatever, right? Because they don't really.
Yeah, but that's like that's almost like homeless people here. Like, do you look at the homeless person and you're like, oh, he's a baba?
No.
Or you're just like, oh, that's a freaking homeless person.
Yeah, it's a marketing gimmick probably for them.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So it's like,
and I'm pretty sure there are people know that too. Like there are some bad ones too. They're just doing it for
the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So do you think that some of them are on a spiritual path?
Okay, I don't know. I don't believe in all that stuff too. So.
And what even is a spiritual path? You know what I mean? It's like they're relying on people. It's like they almost didn't want to live in the world, so they're relying on other people to live in the world. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, it is. They're trying to. Yeah, you're in the world, bro. Just be in the world.
Right, totally. And it's like no, but I must only accept things from my bowl. And you're like, okay, well, I worked for 12 hours to buy you something for your goddamn bowl.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's like you're just walking around asking for stuff in your bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a pathology in itself, you know? Like it's almost like a crazy, it's like we're acknowledged because like we've titled them as spiritual and good and like all that stuff. We feel okay with like giving them a helping hand. But what if all of us started marketing like homeless people as like spiritual? It's like, dude, no. He's sleeping outside because he's spiritual. He doesn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and then all of a sudden, then like people from India will come over and we're like, oh no, that's our Baba. You know, it's like, that's the real like.
I mean, not all of them do that, right? Like I have, like in a village where my, like I forgot Gokern where they come from, where that place is.
Okay.
Like next to their neighbor is a priest place, like not
Do they call
temple,
him?
right?
Do they call him guru?
No, I don't know. I forgot what they call them, but they know them by name.
Yeah.
But they sell stuff too. They got to make a living.
Exactly. So it's like, dude, we all gotta make a living. It's like you're just as spiritual as I'm spiritual, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like what is spirituality? It's just like some like we differentiate ourselves into classes of like spiritualism, but ultimately a spiritual person is like a spiritual person.
Yeah.
We're just choosing to get by in this life different ways. You know, one of us is asking for a handout, one of us is not.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's funny because that actually extends to martial arts too, because like so when I ask you guru, in Arnis they call them gurus or guru. It's like guru. What did you say?
Gross.
They're so sick with their technique that they call them gross. They call them gurus.
Yeah.
And it's like that's one thing I don't like about martial arts etiquette, like calling them sensei or master. It's like, bro, be your own goddamn master. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like a lot of separation, even like we're like, oh no, we're all on a spiritual path, then why am I calling you master?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's why when I teach something I only say like, dude, I've just been around longer and I've done cool stuff, I'm just gonna show you something cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't need to call me sensei. That's really weird actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to have that role over you. Like people are just people, you know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Yeah. There's a lot of, I don't know.
It's perception, man.
Yeah.
Like there, what I've come to realize myself is that like people are just big kids. You know, we all grow up. Like time will always pass, right? Mm-hmm. And we're always gonna just grow up, and because of that, you can't stop. Like you're gonna become an adult.
Yeah.
You know, so you could essentially become like a big kid in a man's body. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you look at them like, oh, you're like a man. What?
That's kind of what it is, right? Like nobody knows, like, what's gonna happen next. Everything
exactly. So it's like, why don't we just give up this illusion and enjoy the moment? But no, we can't do that because some people know what's more important than other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like you can never say what's most important. You know.
Yeah, everyone has their own what should be their important thing, I guess. Like
for sure.
Don't I don't know. I guess I'm chill about this. Like I don't really, whatever you want to do, you do. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You are the most chill about this, actually. I remember like growing up and stuff. You're even still you're like super chill. It's like whatever happens. You know.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is. I mean, it's probably the upbringing, but it's like how much of that is
like self-taught.
Yeah.
Or like realized.
Or realized, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, so I was having this conversation with Sid. Like, let me get your opinion on it. So like realized being real. So in spiritual texts they say like to be a realized human being is to like the highest form, right? Like a realized self is the highest self. Okay. And I was thinking about it because like I gave him like an aha moment, and I was like, oh, you just realized something, and I was like, oh, that aha moment is like our greatest feeling.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
yeah.
think about anything you do, right? I was like saying to him, like when you win a sports game, the only reason why you play the sports is because you're like, can I win this? And then you win it, you're like, oh my god, I am great. You realize something. Realization is the highest energy. You know, even when I create something, I'm not excited during the creation. Once it's done, it's like, like I realize that there's something great here.
Yeah.
But I guess they say that because like realization is always an after the fact thing. It's like once the mind has re-entered, you know what I mean? Like in the moment, you're like not really thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then like as soon as the mind enters, you realize something like that's, or you regret something. That's like from a negative point of view. But that's probably why they say like a realized self is the highest self, whereas like a regretful self is the worst self. You know, you ever hear that line like, what?
Why the worst self?
Oh, because like you regret what you've done. Because like, all right, so when you're doing something, there's no mind.
Yeah, but
it's
when
only
you regret what you've done, you learn from it and not do it again.
It depends on your outlook. Because some people can get stuck in their regret.
Yeah, so can you switch? Like switch them?
Yeah, exactly. I was about to ask you, like, have you heard those like people who say like, I regret nothing in life, like regret nothing because everything led you to this moment.
Right.
And I think that only works if you're happy in this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you like who you are, sweet, don't change anything. But if you don't like who you are, maybe it's time to start changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that line where it's like, if you can go back in your past and change one thing, what would it be? And I was always like, nothing, because I think happy where I am. You know what I mean? Like, and then people are like, you know, there's this one time that blah blah. It's like, well,
because my thing was like, well, I wouldn't be in this. I don't know if I change something. I don't know if I'll be the same me.
Exactly. Like, you know, if I were to change something, I would have just not done this. Then it's like, well, then you jump to that other you, and you'd have been like a total dick.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't know. Yeah. I mean, do you? Yeah, exactly. Do you like where you are right now?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
And I guess if you don't, maybe you did need to change something.
Maybe you should goddamn change something. But the sad part is like you can't actually change anything retroactively. You can only change something like proactively.
Right.
So like, so it's like, why even ask that question? You know what I mean? It's like, when you're like, what can you change about your past? Oh, so now you just want me to suffer over something that I can't
relive that shit.
Yeah, no, relive it. Yeah, you're making me feel bad now. Dude. You're just like, let it go. You know. That's almost probably like, so like I find that whenever I'm dealing with somebody with like lots of sadness, because like you encounter that all the time, not like necessarily teaching, but in life, like somebody's always like sad for some reason, right? Yeah. I always like to like distract them with something.
Yeah.
Because like
take them out of it.
Because exactly, take them out of it, right? So it's like, I was talking to this person, and they're like, oh, we like to have these ceremonies where we like talk about our pain, but like the kids aren't really, they're not really taking to it. And I'm like, well, no, duh. I mean, like, a kid just wants to be a kid, bro. Like, if you want to make them feel better, just play with them, you know? Because like when we were in Peru, like we were dealing with orphan kids, and they loved me. Like I was like super, like, I mean, I do really well with kids because like I just play games, right? So like we were playing games and they loved me. They forgot about their sadness, and it was like, yeah, but then all of a sudden you go like, hey man, like remember that time that your dad beat you?
Yeah, they're just kids, bro. Like,
right, but that even works for adults too.
Yeah,
you know, it's like okay, now we're gonna relive this and get over our problem. You know, like therapists and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like maybe the path isn't to like you're using mind to get out of mind, and it's very difficult to do that.
What is generally a therapist's job though?
I don't know. What is the therapist's job? To help you relive and overcome something? Help you accept something? Confront something?
Maybe acceptance or something.
Yeah, but like,
I don't know.
But like, all right. So if I were I'm not a therapist, but I would just be like, hey man, what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah.
You know, that's your therapy, bro. You know, but then they have the danger of like, I like to do drugs for fun, or like I like to have like it's like a fine line. I don't believe you can fix anyone. I believe that you can only like help push them in a direction. But like ultimately, it's up to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can show you the door, but at the end of the day, you're the one who's gonna have to walk through it.
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, I think that's what the therapist's trying to do. No.
Well, maybe, but like, it's almost like a losing battle. You know, because like some people go to therapy and then they just use that as their crutch. They're like, oh, I'm just going to go talk to my therapist without solving any problems. You know what I mean? Like oftentimes, like, you know what I mean? It's like just confront the problem or leave the situation. Sometimes you can't confront the problem, leave the situation.
Right.
Yeah. Or if it's something really bad, like, oh, I was abused as a child. Like, I don't know what that feels like because I've never been abused as a child, but like, I would just like redirect it. Because it's all about like learned behavior, right? It's like you're unconditioning somebody to some. All right, so like let's say somebody. This is a terrible example, but let's say somebody had like a bad sexual experience as a kid, like they were molested or something, and then they get like another partner and they're having a hard time. You know, right? This is bad. I don't know why I jumped here. I don't know. I was like, all right, well, all right. Let's say as a kid the person didn't like dogs because they were getting bitten.
Okay.
And then
totally
they want to buy a dog now, or like they're forced to live with a dog, etc., etc. And then it's all about like, so you've classically conditioned yourself to be afraid of dogs. Every time you see a dog, you freak out, right? But like, I think the way to do it would be to slowly recondition yourself to realizing dogs are okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, but like, I don't think it's like if you go to therapy and you're like, hey, let me just talk about my dog experience.
I don't think that's. I think the therapist is trying to make you get to the point where you also get like dogs are okay.
No, because they don't. No, because then why would they go to
again?
an office?
I don't have an experience of this by experience with TV shows.
That's true. No, but I know that I know people who are in therapy, and like they just talk about it and they use it as a forum to communicate. You know what I mean? But it's like, rather than communicating, why don't you just address the problem?
I see.
Right? Rehabituate yourself. I think that's easier said than done. But like,
you got different kinds of therapy. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true too.
Just got a bad therapist. Get someone else.
Get out now. Yeah. Yeah.
What else we got?
Pain is yeah. So all right, let's just shift topics onto like games. Have you seen? What'd you think of the new Black Panther trailer? I was asking Sid. He doesn't watch any
trailers.
Yeah, I was like so sad. I was like, man, did you watch it? He's like, nah. I was like, dude.
The same way, my friend doesn't watch it either. It's like, because if he sees a trailer, it's like,
he watched trailers. He just hasn't seen the Black Panther.
Oh, yes.
Like, he's not.
Okay. Okay.
You know, as soon as it came out, I was like, oh my god, I watch this.
Well, this person doesn't like to watch trailers.
Oh,
and he's probably going to listen here.
Oh, okay. So it's going to ruin the experience. Is that what it is? Like,
no. I think it's like, I think I understand what he's saying. If you're watching the movie and you've seen a trailer and you know certain scenes is going to be coming up.
Okay. Yeah.
You're kind of ruining. It's like, oh wait, I'm waiting for that scene. It's not there yet, or something, right? Versus if he's just watching it without any inclination of what has happened in the trailer or anything, it's just nothing but a whole new experience.
You know what you do? You just don't watch the trailers leading up to the date. That's it.
Well, he doesn't watch the trailers at all.
No. But you can still watch the trailer, and then just like as it's coming back, you're like, what was that trailer about? Yeah. And then you just don't watch it before the movie comes out.
That's generally what happens to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You like to delete your memory banks really quickly. And you know what's the funny thing about that is, like, as I was saying before, that like all spirituality is about like managing the mind, right? And one of the things that they all aim to do is delete the past as soon as it happens. It's delete like, no, new moment, over and over and over, right? And it's like, you kind of just accidentally do that. You know, you're just like, I'll be like talking to you, and then it's like, I don't remember that, bro. Or I'm like, oh, wait,
that's why it was hard for me to talk about what has happened as a kid, because I don't remember that much.
Exactly, yeah, you don't hold on to it. Yeah, I remember what I was gonna say about this. It's interesting how like spiritual, like Sanskrit terms, right? They have this term called samskara.
Somewhat?
Samskara.
Okay.
And what that is like, it's like a pre-programmed habitual response due to some memory or trauma as a child.
Okay.
Basically, it's just like a learned behavior. But it's like, and then, like, why? It's like, well, one, they've been doing the study for quite some time. You know, like it's evident that yogis have something to teach us in modern day. And two, but we think it's bro science. You know what I mean?
Bro science?
Bro science is like BS science.
Oh, okay.
It's not real.
Okay.
You know?
I didn't know that's what it meant.
Well, what?
I didn't know that's what it meant.
Oh, yeah, bro science, bro. So
maybe I've heard of it before. I forgot.
Exactly. Keep deleting your memory too quickly. So there's that. But then like the utilization of these terms to make yourself sound smart. It's almost like being a doctor. You know when like a doctor will use like, oh, the tetrahedral. No, that's a lie. I don't know, I made that up. I'm not a doctor. So the neuroplasticity within the brain shoots a dopamine through your connective tissues, thus allowing, some BS like that. And you're like, okay, bro, I didn't go to medical school. Just tell me in plain English.
Yeah.
But it's one of two things. It's either they're overcompensating,
yeah,
or they don't understand it, because simple is complicated understood.
Okay.
If you can say it to a child, you really know what you're talking about. Because I don't think any theory is too complex.
Yeah. If you understand the whole idea.
If you really understand, from like a
maybe it takes the complexity to reach the simplicity.
Oh, of course, yeah. You have to go hard before you can go simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to like understand all depths of it. That's kind of why like I did so much intense study of like this whole like spirituality stuff, and then it's like, oh, it's very simple actually. You don't need to make it ultra complicated. When you make it ultra complicated, nobody will learn it. But if you just tell somebody, dude, like just chill, it's all in your head.
Just breathe.
Relax. Well, what?
Chill and breathe.
Chill and breathe, yo. Chill and breathe. It's all good. You got this. You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, and then it's like, yeah, that's yoga. And they're like, no, I thought yoga was all about the like my sister. I was like having a
the postures.
I was talking to her in the car. I think
many people think that.
Exactly. So like she's like, no, I don't want to do yoga.
She's not the minority.
That's what I'm saying.
The majority.
Right. Because like Western culture has like usurped yoga and made it into this thing that it's not really. Like everyone in India practices some form of yoga because of their belief system.
Yeah.
Like Gyan yoga is the path of study, and like your philosophy in India is Gyan yoga. You know what I mean? So anyway, like I was like with my sister, and then I was saying some stuff, and then she's like, oh man, yoga is so hard. And I'm like, no, we're just doing yoga right now. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, we're talking.
A discussion.
There's a discussion. They're just like philosophers back then.
Yeah, maybe I think we gave them too much. Not in like a bad way, like, or somewhere along the line there's a translation issue, and give them like so much power.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. You're losing the context. That's why I was saying like these babas and stuff, they're just homeless people. It's like, bro, if you really look at it, you know what pissed me off? It's like when they're like, oh no, I gotta live above the system. Bro, you're in the system. And even if you live outside of this system,
or you're relying on someone else in the system.
Exactly, you're just like, you're taking advantage. But even if they're like, oh, I don't like this system, okay, but you realize that when you leave the system, you're going to create your own system, thus being back into a system.
I don't see. They almost died. I don't see a problem. Like these
with the system.
We create these systems. We can change these systems.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, totally. But what I mean is like, even when people go and leave a specific system to create a new system, it's still a system. So it's like, what are you escaping, bro? What you're really trying to say is you don't like the way that we live life in this society.
Yeah.
Like really think about it more. Use some big boy words, and don't just say down with the system. Because like, what system are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
No, we're gonna live in a commune. We're all gonna live together, and we're just gonna like grow our own crops. That's a system.
I don't want that.
That's that's the system you don't want to be a part of. No, what I'm saying is like
that's also a system. I see what you're saying. Yeah, like, that is like, also a version of a system.
That's basically agriculturalism in the beginning. So it's like when we had smaller tribes and you guys were like hunting and like doing all that stuff, like working as a team. Like that's basically what a commune is. You're working as an agricultural system. That's just not up to date.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't know. We're so confused. But you know what's not confusing? Guy Ritchie, because he's awesome.
Why did you bring Guy Ritchie up?
Because I was thinking about King Arthur.
King Arthur. Well, that's all right.
Yeah, did you like King Arthur?
It's all right.
All right.
It's
fine.
okay.
You saw it, right? Guy Ritchie's King
I
Arthur.
think we saw it together.
Yeah, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we did see it together. Yeah.
You're going off on it.
I was going off because what he was saying was like, if you watch the King Arthur movie, he was like going off on Joe Rogan about like all this analogy and stuff, and Joe Rogan's like, "Are you sure people will see it that way?" And he's like, "If you have the eyes to see, you'll see it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, totally." Like,
That's from more. That's like a lot of movies like that too.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Underlying meanings.
Underlying, yeah, totally. Like, now I'm being cognizant of me saying totally all the time. I'm like, now I'm like self-conscious about saying totally.
Totes.
I should just switch it to
My
totes.
goats.
That might be really annoying. Totes.
My goats.
Toast my goats. Yeah, so like King Arthur was great because it was like about all of our internal struggles for greatness. Like, all right, so if you're listening to this and you're gonna go watch King Arthur, watch the Guy Ritchie version, and basically keep this in your mind. The whole movie is an analogy about a person who's trying to escape from their fate. Like, they are destined for greatness. They have the ability to become great, and what they do is they run from their greatness because they don't think that they're worthy enough. That's like everyone in society.
Yeah.
It's like all of us.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's why I liked it. I was like, you're telling
I see
me.
what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? So like when he threw away the sword, he's like, I don't want this obligation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, that's like everyone. So it's like, if you know that if you only studied for your test, you'd get an A+. But the obligation of having to study is like you throwing away the sword. You're like, I can't do it. It's too difficult. You know what I mean? It's like, even like Jesus when he was going against the cross, last game. Even Jesus when he was going against the cross, or he was going to be like crucified and stuff, he asked God to like please God, like let me pass this cup away from me or something like that. Like basically like I don't want to have to deal with this. And it's like, but you are destined to do it. Not necessarily destined, but it's like life aligned you in the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I like the movie. It's like a great metaphor for everyone's struggle. Plus the martial arts is awesome.
Martial arts. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like the sword fighting.
Yeah, they did. It was pretty cool. Like the whole vision of it. Like it was really different.
Oh, the visuals.
Visuals.
Oh, like the way he interpreted
His vision. Of
oh yeah,
this,
for sure. It was very like gangster. You know, like it's that Guy Ritchie style. I really liked it.
I don't know. I'll give him like I know that what he does is movies, so I kind of expected that to see.
Yeah, that like.
But it felt like but it felt weird for that
period
kind of thing.
Right. But
like I know what he was. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with you taking those kinds of risks.
Totally. I agree with you. But see, I think it was because I was already pre-pro, like in my subconscious. I was thinking about the interview that I watched prior to seeing the movie, and like.
So you were ready.
So I was ready. I got what he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to actually tell the story of King Arthur. He was trying to tell the analogy of King Arthur.
Yeah.
You know, like he didn't. I'm pretty sure he didn't care about like actual King Arthur-ness. Like it was just the best medium from which to tell this.
Kind of story. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them. That's why I like to listen to like director's cut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some director's cut because like someone's like.
Well, it depends on the movie.
This scene sucked. We weren't supposed to walk in here. Oh, this is actually.
I like that too, actually.
We laughed. Oh, true. I guess. Well, you know what? I'd actually prefer to watch those kinds of movies, like that kind of stuff, because you learn something, versus like watching an actual movie. Because sometimes like movies can be really bad, draining on the mind.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a bad movie.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of bad movies this summer.
Yes, this was a bad. Well, I mean, we did. Wait, was King Arthur a part of the summer blockbuster? Because that movie was awesome.
I don't remember. Was it? Oh yeah, it was. Not really. It was like May. It was kind of.
It was like school.
Well, like that's like I'm saying like the majority. I'm not gonna say all were bad. Weren't there some good ones?
Like King Arthur.
Okay. I can't remember now what else was out, but I knew that I didn't like a lot of them.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's how you know it was a bad summer. When you can't even remember the movies. You're like, what movies were out? I don't even know.
Oh, Wonder Woman.
I didn't like that. Everyone went off. You know what it was?
My issue was she didn't have her key ups.
Oh, yeah.
Like that she had in BVS, Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, let me blow your mind on this one, because I was telling Sydney about it, but I haven't told you yet. I watched the Wonder Woman documentary movie, like the creator of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
He was a psychologist at Harvard or River.
Who, the creator?
Yeah, the creator. I think it was Harvard. Now that I'm like second guessing myself, I think it was Harvard. Wherever it was, he was a psychologist. He fell in love with a student, and then the student fell in love with his wife and him.
Yeah.
So the whole movie was about, like, can you love multiple people at once?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like, the two girls were definitely bi, but the guy was not bi because he loved girls.
Okay.
So then when that got found out, he got kicked out. They were actually the inventors of the lie detector. Mm-hmm. And then that's why they wrote in. So like he was trying to figure out how he would make money, and that's when he created Wonder Woman. So like, yeah, it's really interesting, right? And like he built in the golden lasso was because he invented the lie detector.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, right. But here's the crazy part, because he was like very like into like weird sexual stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you mentioned you text me what, like bondage or something.
Yeah. So
I was like, isn't that what was that the rope was for or something?
Yeah. So like he learned a bondage technique of like tying a girl up, and that's where he got like the rope for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then like her outfit was like a very like bondagey outfit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so basically, the whole movie is he came up with a disc theory.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the acronym was for, like, but it was like the S was submissive. So you know, like you know, you have to be the submissive in like. It kind of sounds like weird sexual perversion, right? You have to be the submissive, right? Yeah. So his theory is that like all encounters are broken down into this disc theory, right?
Oh.
So then when he created Wonder Woman, the story, he was actually trying to prove disc theory through the comic book.
Oh.
So like he was showing like a lot of the old depictions of Wonder Woman were very like sexual and submissive. Like she'd be tied up and like, oh no, they're gonna kill you, Wonder Woman, and then she'd be tied up in a weird, provocative way.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to watch the movie. It's crazy.
Oh wow, okay.
And then she would tie up her not her victims, but like bad guys in a very sexual manner as well, like hog tie them and shit. And then like it was really weird to see.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was just crazy. But and
see the underlying tones.
That's what I'm saying.
Like comic book.
Yeah. So the whole movie was about like it. The whole premise is like he had to justify his decisions in court. Like not in court, but like he was being questioned.
Why? Oh, why was he being questioned? Like
because they were starting to take Wonder Woman off the shelves because it was too provocative.
Oh, I see.
So like the whole thing was like a hearing between him and this girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they had to figure out like, is it too sexual? Did he go too far? Blah blah blah.
Right.
But when you look at like the way he lived his life, it was very like erotic, which is how he drew Wonder Woman. But it's funny because like his
so it was a guy's interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
And his
that makes sense.
Right? Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
And his justification was that he wanted to create women empowerment. But it's like he didn't actually want to do women empowerment. He wanted to prove his disc theory.
Oh, okay.
But like he was saying women empowerment in order to get the comic book released.
Yeah.
But you'll love this one. Guess who he went to as the publisher?
What?
Guess who he went to first to like publish the comic?
Who?
The one who discovered Superman.
Oh, Joe Shuster or something like that?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So like he went to like the publisher of Superman and he's like, I got the best comic for you, and then blah blah blah. Then he's like, oh, this would never fly, and he's like, no, it's about re-feminizing women.
Oh, he pitched it.
He pitched it, and I was like, but like you saw his underlying tone that he actually just wanted to prove disc theory.
Yeah.
That's weird, man.
Yeah, but now she's like a famous superhero. So.
Yeah, but I'll never look at Wonder Woman again the same.
Wonder Woman is just a character. Now there's multiple versions, multiple types of stories.
Yeah, but her like it was funny because like
maybe like her incarnation of how it started.
But it's funny because he went to a burlesque store, and then he's like, "Oh, I love this," and then he was pitching the comic book to his two wives, and they're like, "Okay, she looks like a burlesque woman. This is never gonna fly." And then they're like, "No, it's athletic."
Athletic?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
like,
I see,
no,
I
she
see.
needs to be in a burlesque outfit because it's the most athletic. And then they're like, why does she have chains on her wrist? And he's like, they deflect bullets. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you are trying to justify your own sexual desires.
So it's so weird seeing where things have started.
That's what I'm saying. You know, when I watched this movie, I was like, I actually feel a little gross. Like watching the movie, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I know it's like how they're using Wonder Woman now though as a method of
that's
woman
what I'm saying.
empowerment.
That's what I'm saying. So like that's what's ironic. So like
so
when
funny.
Wonder Woman came out, all the girls, like I know this guy who's like he has a daughter, and he's like, oh, I Wonder Woman everything for her because like I want her to know that women are strong individuals. And when I watched the movie, I was like, too bad that it's actually about being a dominatrix. So that's a shame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like all these people are like, oh, Wonder Woman's like a great female role model. Is she? Or is she like a
it's
sex
just yeah
person?
I thought it was kind of weird to say that.
To what? To see her in that?
No, I mean like yeah, to say that great woman role model. I'm like,
Yeah, it's like, but she's half naked. But she fights for freedom, bro. It's like, what? Like, all right, so like, why don't you go get like a serial rapist fighting for freedom? Mm-hmm. Are we gonna say that he's great? You know what I mean? It's like, well, we like to pick and choose as a society.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what will?
Just trying to create our own new gods.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, how is that show? New Gods.
It's called American Gods.
Oh, American Gods. Yeah.
It's old gods. It's not new gods. I mean, it's old
No, it's
gods
the new
versus
gods.
the old gods. Old gods versus the new gods.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
how is it?
It's really good.
Worth it?
Oh yeah. Because they, not all episodes, but like the first few episodes, they kind of like go into some of the old gods and
Yeah.
what they used to do.
Like they go into their backstories.
A little bit, not like the backstories, more like how they came to America.
Oh, that's cool. Whoa, okay. Like on a boat? Like what?
No, I mean like with the first. So
Oh, they actually go into that? Like who brought the theories?
not like
it's
no,
not literal
this
truth.
is-
Like it's not
this is
historical
fictional story.
Oh, too bad. That would have been really cool if they like showed how.
But in
each of
a
these
general
cultures-
sense, they're trying to say like when the Vikings came here, that's when Norse mythology came here,
Right.
or Odin
right.
came here, right? And then
You know Zelda?
Zelda the game.
Yeah, Zelda the game Link.
Okay.
That's a Norse mythology guy, eh? Like it was weird because I was like because you play the video game all the time, right? And then like you never really think about it. You're just like, oh, he's Zelda. But then if you look at all of his like amulets, his sword style, it's all like Norse.
Oh,
he's a very like that sword that he has is a very like. It's not like a Japanese sword. It's not like you know. It's more of like a Viking. Sorry, is Viking Norse?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's Norse. Yeah.
Norse mythology.
So he's dressed more like a Viking and he uses like Viking weaponry.
Oh.
Yeah, interesting, right? But again, if you just victory, if you just like focus on where the origins of things come from, you'll figure this out. Okay, summation. Now this match is over. What is the best thing about Overwatch?
The best thing about Overwatch?
Yeah,
Is the
it
character.
looks like Halo. Yeah.
It
looks like Quake.
There's something in here that this is just a multiplayer game, but there's so much story in it.
Yeah, but they release like little mini videos, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, you can do like Call of Duty. It's a multiplayer game.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
So there's so much story in it that people have, like really like certain characters.
You become emotionally invested in the characters and not see it as just a multiplayer game because you're watching.
Yeah, you actually get to know their backstory. Yeah, they release those videos.
Exactly.
But it's
that's a great way to get people hooked because like if this was just like a game, then you'd be like, I don't care about the characters.
like who are these characters? Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to like emotionally invest. Well, that's a marketing tactic. Like if you can emotionally invest in a character, then you end up loving them and stuff.
Yeah, but I think it also has to start with. With the developers.
What do you mean?
I mean, the amount of energy they put into it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You gotta love what you're doing.
For sure. No.
And I think that
agree.
energy spreads.
So do you think if like do you think it would work like speaking of like emotional attachment if we had like a Tetris and Tetris is a very like basic game, so what if like you create a story behind Tetris?
I guess. But I don't know how you could do that.
Like I'm just wondering like how far-reaching is this like marketing tactic?
I don't think it'll work there.
Okay, so you need.
I think you need characters. I think you need to have actual.
Actually, I like that better. Like finding out the story without having to like play through the game. Because like if you want to find out the story for Call of Duty, you have to beat the game. But you're like, I just bought Call of Duty to play online.
But none of those characters mean anything.
Exactly.
Because the next Call of Duty, who are these people?
Totally. But that's why I like Halo. Because like in Halo.
Yeah. So Halo. Yeah. Exactly.
But Halo's more of a story too. Like
that's the reason why.
Really good.
That's the reason why I liked Halo.
The story.
It's a story. On top of that, their multiplayer was
amazing.
Top-notch.
Yeah, for sure. I know like old friends who would just buy the Halo and they wouldn't even play the story mode. They just play online.
They just play it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, it feels like kind of a waste of a game, but whatever. Actually, no, it's not a waste of a game because I bought GTA 5 just for the online. We tried to play the story mode and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just too long.
But the story mode is really good.
Sure, yeah. I wonder if people like, is it good to have a really long story?
So there's a lot of issues though too. Like people do want story.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So when the first Battlefront came out, Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
There was no story mode.
People hated it.
People did not like that. There's a lot of backlash, right?
That makes sense.
So in the new Star Wars that's coming out in next month or so, there's a story mode.
Okay.
Right?
Well, yeah, because
it's also like how much money you're spending. So you're spending $60-$70 depending on where you are on the game, and there's no story mode. It's just multiplayer.
Oh, I see. The value's not
right.
Yeah, I get you.
But if you've got the story mode and it's the same price, then there's some level of understanding why it's like that much money and stuff, right? Like it makes, because we're used to having story mode, and if it doesn't have story mode, why am I paying like $60?
Right.
I should be paying like $50 or $40 or something.
True. Yeah, I agree with you. Quick side note, because I just realized this, because I was like, where did we get this idea for? I know we've been playing video games forever and like chatting as we play the video game, but you know who also had a similar idea about this, but he stopped it? Ghost Robo. Right? Do you remember those podcasts he tried to make?
Oh yeah.
Like him and his friends, and then they were like playing the video game and they were chatting and stuff. But the difference is they had a podcast and they just overlaid video game footage on top of.
Oh, I see what they're doing. It wasn't live.
It wasn't like this. No.
Yeah.
I like this way better.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff happening, and it's actually more tougher on the mind.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, no. I feel like because you're distracting yourself, you can only say something that's true to you in that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Sydney was talking about that when he first played. He's like, because I'm playing GTA 5, like I can't pre-think about what I want to say as I say it because I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Which is like, it keeps you honest, you know what I mean? Like if we were having like a conversation, you could easily like filter your dialogue.
Yeah, and you know you're like a super jerk or some dude.
Exactly. Yeah. True. Yeah, the illusions. Yeah. So, yeah. I guess all we really want to say is video games are pretty sick. You should always emotionally invest in your characters if you're creating a video game.
Yeah, that's when you can sell a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what you're saying, marketing.
It'd be really cool if like one day, I'm just calling it right now on the podcast, it'd be really cool if one day somebody like hires us as like intelligence experts. You know what I mean? Like how they do that. They're just like, come and play the game and you tell me what you think.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Isn't that like a tester's job? Is that what you said?
Yeah, but like no, because doesn't a tester?
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
it's more like a creative consultant.
Yeah, like when they'll give people like some YouTubers.
Right, and it's like you seem to know games.
Yeah.
Like, let me know if this game sucks, and you're like, this game sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, games are cool. Till next time.
Peace. Bye.